Hey there, everybody. Welcome into the
Hey,
studios.
everybody.
Ale and Seb after a 6+ hour shift.
That's what we do. So.
Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun, I say.
MVP,
When you're in good company.
MVP performance from you
right.
today, huh?
I believe we've also got Gab Marcotti with us.
yeah, we
there
do.
he is,
Yeah, we
of
do.
course.
Yeah,
Of
we
course,
do.
we saved him here for extra time. And the first question is for Gab from Natum's Interior Decorator.
Okay. Monochromatic then.
Yes. Okay, so for Gab, you got to start, bench, and drop. This is a manager edition. Conte, Ancelotti, or Ranieri. Whoa.
Wow.
All right, so
How romantic do you
who
want to
I'm
be
gonna
here?
start.
Yeah.
Hey, this is too easy, right? Obviously, Carlo Ancelotti gets a start forever in my heart. So the question is, for the bench, do I go with the guy I like
Yeah.
and who I think is a gentleman? Or do I go with the guy who I don't always like so much, but is probably a better manager?
This is about winning
almost a
games
philosophical
and not
question.
going to dinner with somebody, Gab. So who you choosing?
Breaks my heart, Claudio, but you're dropped. I got to put Conte on the bench. It's this tyranny of merit. I absolutely hate it.
There you go.
This is Leicester City's Ranieri, right? Just saying. Historic. Historic.
Did Ancelotti ever win the league with Leicester?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Just throwing it out there.
Seb attacks Ancelotti's coaching resume is going to be the headline on YouTube, I can see.
Whoa.
Okay, next question. Of course, those of you watching the FA Cup saw a great goal from Cunha and then an even more explosive fight afterwards. So the question here, will Cunha's lack of discipline cost Wolves staying in the Premier League? Gab, what do you think? Did you see it?
Yes, I saw it. I think the Knights, I mean, look, I think Wolves have a big enough cushion and are playing good enough football under Vitor Pereira that they're not going to go down. Even should this happen again, should Cunha get suspended. But clearly, this is somebody who needs a talking to. And the worst thing that can happen, I mean, you remember before Vitor Pereira came back, you know, we saw fighting between Wolves players, you know, Ryan Aït-Nouri getting into it. They don't need this. They just need to be united. Let's get over the line. Fortunately, there are, you know, some really, really bad teams in the Premier League, and Wolves are not one of them. I think they'll be fine.
17th right now, but yeah, to your point, 5-point cushion to the drop zone. For Ale, Bundesliga Ale,
Okay.
who is finishing top 4 in the Bundesliga table this season?
Obviously, Bayern, Bayer Leverkusen,
Okay,
right?
then it gets interesting.
Or as Derek says, Bayern 04 or Die Werk zelf. Okay. Bayern Munich, Bayer Leverkusen, and then it gets interesting. Because Mainz is playing really well. Because Freiburg is playing really well. And more importantly, because Leipzig are not playing all that well, and Dortmund, even though they won today, they won last week, apparently they're back-ish, kind of, sort of, maybe, but they are trailing by a good chunk of points. And so I really look at this as an opportunity for teams like Eintracht Frankfurt, like Mainz, like Freiburg. So I'm going to leave. Who am I going to leave out?
Leave Leipzig out, I feel like.
I sort of have to leave Leipzig out because I have a really soft spot for Freiburg. Have I told you I like me some Freiburg?
What's up with Freiburg? Why?
I went to Freiburg.
Oh,
It's
good
a
food?
It's a nice place.
Okay.
It's a nice city.
Okay.
Cute town.
Okay, so we're going Freiburg and Frankfurt are your two?
I'm going Freiburg and Frankfurt alongside Leverkusen and Bayern Munich.
Gab, you don't agree?
I mean, Freiburg's nice.
Oh, you just hate Freiburg.
Oh,
That's
here we
all.
go.
Kinda like-
Gab
Here
with
we
his
go.
elitist
You know what?
anti-Freiburg rhetoric.
All right,
Oh,
forget
fine.
Here
it.
for it. Go ahead, Gab.
It's fine, but look, by Germantown standards, I suppose it's all right.
Oh, so now it's a whole German town thing. Got it, okay. We're digging a hole here.
Well, Freiburg is very close to, if Jules were here, he'd point out that it's very close to France, and it's also very close to Basel. In fact, fun fact, there's one airport there that serves Freiburg in Germany, Basel in Switzerland, and Mulhouse in France.
Wow.
Isn't that pretty cool?
See.
Pretty cool, strong.
That's not enough to get you in the Champions League, though.
Yeah.
No, look, I'm not big on, I don't believe in goal difference, but when I look at that -2, it really just kind of jumps out at me. I think Eintracht Frankfurt are in. I have to believe Borussia Dortmund will play to their talent. Guirassi's hot. I'm not a big Kovac guy. The gap is 6 points. You guys shouted at me for suggesting Milan could make up an 8-point gap. I think they can make up a 6-point gap. Personally, I just hope it's not Leipzig, because I'm so tired of these horror shows. I'm so tired of Red Bull, smartest guys in the room. I'm loving the fact that both Salzburg and Leipzig are sticking it up big time. And maybe Uncle Jurgen will get involved and fix them for next year.
Because Gab went in on Freiburg a little bit there.
The good people of...
Yeah, well, may I just say a couple of things? I've actually been to the point in which Switzerland, Germany, and France meet. Took a couple of pictures there. Was in the airport, was at the actual...
Okay, the spot.
Yeah, the spot, right then and there.
So what, you had like one leg in France, one leg in Switzerland, and then an arm in...
Yeah, we divided the family in 3 countries.
There it is, great.
That one thing. Second thing is, what's wrong with the Black Forest? I love me the Black Forest at Freiburg. I love me the Alsace region, right there where Freiburg is. Flammkuchen is some kind of different type of pizza that is amazing as well. The thin crust little pizza action. I don't know what you got against the Alsace region and against the Black Forest, Gab, but that's beautiful country over there.
Pfannkuchen is more of a pancake than a pizza.
Excuse me.
And look, I'm not Neapolitan. Pizza is not part of my culture. Do what you like.
Gab correcting your food takes. Nothing new here on
Yes.
ESPN FC.
Nothing has changed.
But I'm impressed by your geographic tourism. You must have been to the Four Corners and absolutely love that, right? Where the 4 states come together. You did that too, right?
Like Colorado, Arizona, Utah, and all that. I've never done that. Have you? Did you do that?
No, I have not done that because I do it internationally. I go and see the world, go and see the people.
Worldly.
Yes.
For here.
I am man of the people.
Seb, Ale often turned into R9. Is this your burner account? When playing against your DC United.
Yes,
Any
I did.
Particular game where he torched your team stick out in your mind? I was in the stands. How many hat tricks do you have in your career?
Couple.
Okay, well, I was definitely in the stands for one of them in college against DC United. It was in the spring, I feel like, in like 04.
Must have been 04. As Freddie Adu was on the field for DC United.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's Freddie Adu year. And you, I mean, it was like I know you scored a hat trick, and I know they were pretty quick. I know it was a pretty tum 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 tum.
Well, that's my
fair?
kind of game. I'm quick like that, Seb.
You remember that game, obviously.
Oh, I remember the third goal in particular because it was like a back heel sort of volley kind of thing. Kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's kind of filthy. And even when he went in, I was like, that went in? All right, this is a magical day for me.
Were you, did you have a thing with DC United that you felt pretty good when you were going to play that?
I don't know what it was, but yes, I scored all the time against DC United.
But I mean, like, after it starts happening a while, do you then go into games being like,
There are a couple of things. The surface at RFK Stadium was excellent.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yes, the field was excellent.
Yeah.
And
I've heard that from a lot of guys.
And the environment at RFK Stadium was also, before it became what it became, it was exciting to go and play against DC United because also DC United traditionally have been one of the best teams in Major League Soccer. But for whatever reason, in that stadium, scored a bunch of goals and scored goals against DC United wherever we played DC United. I don't know what it is, but I suppose that every striker has one of those teams that they feel really good about. DC United was that for me.
You were just saving them up so that when you met me years down the road, you'd have something to needle me about.
I don't think I've ever mentioned it, Seb, but now that you mention it, well, I'm just keeping it factual.
Some burner mentioned it. I didn't. This is not me that asked the question.
All right.
Gab, who is currently in pole position for Serie A Player of the Year?
Ooh, that's actually a really good question. I'd have to put some thought into it, but given that this is television, I don't have a lot of time to think about it. Certainly the fact that Matteo Retegui, I think, has scored more goals than I think every single striker in the Big Five, except for like Haaland and Kane. It's something crazy like that. If Atalanta win, I think he'd be in the conversation, as would Ederson. I think, and if Mark Ogden were here, he'd laugh and fall off his chair. Scott McTominay has had a tremendous impact on Napoli this year, and they get it over the line. I think, again, he would be in the conversation. And I think from Inter, it really is a collective thing, but Nicola Barella, Fede Di Marco, and Marcus Thuram, for me, have been three of the standouts this season.
All right, we watched Real Madrid lose earlier today. Our next question is ranking these Real Madrid players in order of importance, okay? Three of them played today, Vini, Courtois, and Mbappe. Two of them didn't, in Valverde and Bellingham. So there's your five: Vini, Valverde, Bellingham, Courtois, Mbappe. Give me the ranking 1 to 5 of who's most important to Carlo Ancelotti.
See, if you go down the path of sort of hipster
Importance.
kind of analytical,
Outside the box.
yeah, then you have to imagine that Valverde has to be number one in every list because he can resolve a lot of issues for Carlo Ancelotti. I'm no hipster.
Right.
I don't know anything about analytics. I don't know anything about sort of outside the box takes, but I would have Valverde in my team every single day. Every day. Then after that, you know, you have to have production. And so is Mbappe in the list?
Mbappe's on the list.
So,
Bellingham's on the list.
I'm gonna
Vini's
have
on the list.
I'm gonna have Mbappe, I'm gonna have Courtois,
Okay.
I'm gonna have Bellingham, and I'm gonna have Vini. In that order.
Ooh.
Wow, Valverde 1, Mbappe 2, Courtois 3, Bellingham 4, Vini Jr. 5. Gab, what are you doing?
I like how he has Vinny last. Vinny's army might come after him. I'm actually going to have Vinny last too, or you can have Mbappe and Vinny interchangeably. And the reason for that is, you know, fundamentally, yes, they're different players, but, you know, they both play the same position. And so, you know, that kind of makes them less important, if you see what I'm saying, because one of them's not there, the other one's still there. If you'd asked me this question a year ago, I would have said Thibaut Courtois. But then again, you know, they played without Courtois for virtually a whole season, and it was still pretty good. So, reluctantly, I might go with Valverde, but I think in second place. But I think I have to go with Bellingham, simply because he can do so many things, simply because, you know, there is no obvious alternative to Bellingham, and he plays, in my opinion, a more important position than Fede Valverde. But it's close. These are all great players.
Interesting. Bellingham 4th on your list, but first on his.
Well, here's the thing about Bellingham. I think I can cover his position with other players, or I can shift my team around and address other issues if Bellingham is not on the field. The reason I have Courtois, I think I have him a third.
You had him 3rd, yeah.
Yes. It's because this team has difficulties defending, and I'm going to need game-saving moments from Thibaut Courtois. And so I need him to be at his best, and that's why I have him higher on the list, is because I have deficiencies everywhere else, and so he's going to have to save my team at some point. That's why he becomes so critically important to my group.
Our last question for both of you fine gentlemen. We saw Johnny Cardoso score a goal today for Real Betis against Real Madrid from a corner kick. What are the odds Johnny Cardoso moves to Spurs? He has been linked to Spurs quite a bit over the last few months this summer. Or do we think another club may outbid Spurs at this point? Ale, you first. What do you think of Johnny Cardoso? You think he's ready for the Premier League?
Well, I don't have an issue with Johnny Cardoso going to the Premier League. I just think that Johnny Cardoso has found his place at Betis, where he is beloved and appreciated by his teammates and his fans and his coach. This is a place in which he can continue to grow, and maybe there's an opportunity later on to make this move. You just got settled at Betis, and now it feels like you're jumping to the next thing without knowing exactly what's on the other side. If I were advising Johnny Cardoso, say, continue to grow this spot that you have right now, grow within this role, grow as a player, and then we'll talk big dreams in the future.
Betis playing well right now with him in the mix. He's been a pretty solid starter for most of this season. Gab, what do you think of Johnny Cardoso and a potential move?
So I'm not sure Spurs is realistic simply because I'm not sure Ange Postecoglou is going to be back next season, and I don't think clubs aren't going to go and make moves now at this stage when they don't know what they're going to be playing next season and who their manager is going to be. I take Ali's point. I think you'd want to probably consolidate a little bit, and I think Spurs, with the players that they have, it's not exactly a byword of stability right now. So yeah, obviously if they come and they triple your salary and whatever, and it's the Premier League, sure, I think you'd be strongly tempted. But I think there might be other options. I almost think of it in terms of a transitional club, where you can play and you can continue your rise. Somewhere like Brighton might be nice, although the analytics nerds rule there, so I don't know if they like Johnny Cardoso. I'd have to check with them.
There you go. Check with the nerds. Who else did we offend today? The nerds, the people of Freiburg, then all German towns.
Well, not we.
Not we.
Somebody else.
It's all relative.
Not we.
But I'm sorry, when you live there, Germany, you look at a map, they're next door to France, right? And they're next door to Switzerland, which is all pastoral and clock towers and stuff like that. It's a really, really big ass to look good. It's like, Ali, when you go out with your friend that I met, the guy who's a male underwear model, he's going to end up he's going to make you look a little bit worse than you really are.
Man, we're going down a weird road. We're going down a weird road.
You don't know about this personality, Gab.
That's right.
You don't know about
a lot.
It's a winning personality, Gab.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of ESPN FC's Extra Time. We'll sign off before we get ourselves into any more trouble. Make sure to catch us tomorrow for the next edition of the show.